I get this weird feeling that the deeper you dive into a particular subject or a particular activity, maybe you could say that as well. The deeper you delve into it, the more you find out what you are instead of finding out about that thing. I don't know if that makes any sense. It probably does make sense. What I think there's a phrase by Rumi that I want to use, but I don't remember it clearly. But I think it goes something along the lines of when I searched for God, I found only myself. And when I searched for myself, I found only God. I sort of want to use it, lacking actual understanding of what it actually means. So this is just my dumb interpretation of it. But well, in my case, I wanted to understand socializing, communication, and in all honesty, women in particular. Women, right? I wanted to gain a better understanding of them and the things they liked, the things they wanted, and just how to communicate and interact with them. But I never really knew how. So I dove into the teachings of pickup artistry and cold approach and all that stuff. Just all this stuff. And I've been doing it for quite some time. I find that in this time that I've been doing it, I've learned nothing about women. But I've discovered a lot about myself. I find that my understanding of women has gone up maybe 5%, but in turn, my understanding of myself has gone up a drastic amount in comparison to where I and when I started. So I think that sort of relates back to the quote by Rumi where he says, I searched for God and found only myself. I searched for this particular thing, and it seems to be that whenever we search outside of ourselves for a particular thing, the deeper you delve into that search, the more you just find yourself. You don't find the thing, you don't find the answer, the secret. All you find is yourself. It's interesting because that's kind of just how it is. That's kind of just how it is. You dive into a particular subject and you find yourself. You dive into a particular sport, and the deeper you go, the more you just find you. The less it is the sport, the less it is the thing you were looking for, and the more it is yourself. This this connection you have with all things is revealed to you. It takes a long time, but that is ultimately revealed the deeper you go. And I think it's important in order to be able to sort of do this, to continue to have an inquisitive frame, right? To not allow your ideas of what you think to be true to oppress your ability to question things. Because I find that the people who think they know the most are the people who have who have done the least. I was one of those people. I was one of the people where I thought I knew everything about women and philosophy and psychology at the beginning, but as time went on, because I kept an inquisitive mind, because I continued to view myself as a beginner, and I think a quote by Socrates is best used in this particular case. I'm the wisest man, for I know one thing, and that is I know nothing. I think that frame allowed me to be open to changing my perspective, to viewing things through a different lens, which then allows me to grow. Because those who choose to resist the new lens, or resist lenses apart from the ones that they already use, will can never grow. They refuse the ideas of growth because growth is change. But it's change, it's good change. There's good change and there's bad change. Growth is good change. So having questions is a good thing. Opening your mind, being inquisitive, understanding various frames, various perspectives, views, and realizing that you know nothing. It's very important to take the frame of a beginner with all things. Not to say that you're literally stupid, but I probably am. But not to say that you're literally stupid, but more to just more so that you're not in the know of all things. So you'll always hear it from the people who have the least experience with women. They will have all this shit, all this information, all this stuff, and tell you all this shit about women and how women are and what they do and what they want and blah 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 blah. But they've only, I don't want to say they've only, don't have experiences with women like that. And the experiences they have with women are pretty shitty experiences, um, which develop these pretty shitty views and keep them in resistance from learning and engaging with women. But what I found is that in my constant and continuous engagement with women, I didn't really learn much about them. Of course, there is a bit that you learn and you begin to understand, oh, okay, this is what they respond to. But what I learned more of was what I want and what I like and what I desire and what I am. I found, I didn't find myself, but I began to understand myself much more than I had understood myself prior to the engaging with women, or to the journey of learning social connections and communication skills, social skills, whatever you want to call it, cold approach, game, pickup, whatever. Prior to learning that, I was lost. And as a result of learning that and engaging in those things, I'm still lost. But at least now I know I'm lost. At first, I was lost and I thought oh no, because you sort of have to hold this frame of I'm not dumb. I know where I am. I know where I stand. And it's not real. It's sort of this fake thing, shield we use to not seem dumb. As Confucius said, that what did Confucius say? The man who asks a question is a fool for a minute. The man who does not ask is a fool for life. The idea being that the majority of people don't ask the questions because they do not want to be seen as a fool. So they would rather be a fool for life than be a fool for a minute. Because in being a fool for life, you are not exposed as being a fool at all. So people are in the assumption is that you might know, you might not know, we don't know, but at least you're not a fool. Like this guy who we know he doesn't know because he asked the question, and everybody thinks he's stupid for asking the question, but everybody wanted to ask the question, basically, or some shit. I don't know, whatever. Maybe I'm just dumb, but I searched for God and found only myself. And in this case, I searched for the understanding of social skills, humans, social connections, woman, communication skills, and found only the understanding of myself, my own connection to myself, communication, socializing. I found that. And what happens is that it's funny, it sort of works similar to how your body works, where there's this finer fiber upon which the whole thing operates. And you begin to sort of, you don't like sit on it, but you begin to bounce on it off of this finer fiber. And what I mean by finer fiber is, there's a way in which you operate the process of digesting your food, moving your bowels, pumping blood through your veins. There's a process upon which you operate. You are in charge of the operation of hearing sound through your ears, or seeing through your eyes, smelling through your nose. You are in charge of the operation of breathing, of beating your heart, of growing your body, growing your hair, growing your nails. You're in charge of all of this stuff, yet you never think about it. It is never a thought that's like, oh shit, I forgot to start growing my hair today, my bad. And you start like, you never think about, oh my goodness, you know what I forgot to do today? I forgot to start digesting my food. Let me start digesting my. You don't think about it. It's not something you have to think about. You don't think about moving your bowels. Bowels. You don't think about filtering the fluids in your body through your kidneys so that you do not have a lot of waste in your body and you can absorb the good stuff and do away with the bad stuff. You don't think about that. You don't think about secreting your essences, do you? You don't even fucking you don't. Some people don't even remember or don't even know that that's what they do, right? On a day-to-day basis. If it's like there's so many things you don't even think about how to move your hand. If I ask you, okay, how do you open and close your hand? How do you do it? You can't tell me. Well, I think about it, okay, and well, I move my hand, I close it and I open it. But how? There's this finer fiber upon which we operate, and this finer fiber allows us to do things without having to consciously be aware of our doing them. And this is a greater mind than the mind we use, the logical mind, the rational mind, the reasonable mind, the intellectual mind, whatever you want to call it. This mind of logic, reason, ration, intellect, and all that stuff, it's a an infant in comparison to the mind of, well, what came before the logical mind. Because there was a way in which we operated before we started thinking thoughts. There's a way in which we operated before we began to reason, before we began to logic. And because of that, we we allowed everything to happen of itself in a way. And that's pretty much what I mean when I say all the things, the for example, talking to women and connecting with them, building chemistry, building the vibe, the attraction, just the experience in itself. It seems to happen of itself now more than it is me trying for something. And I say that because at first I was trying for something. At first it was like, oh, I have this objective in mind and I want to achieve my objective. I want to achieve my goals. But as I went deeper, like I said, you begin to find yourself, not find yourself, but understand more of yourself than you do of the thing you were trying to understand, or than the thing you were trying to find. I searched for God and found only myself. This the connection and communication or interactions with women tend to flow as though they happen of themselves. Less is it that I'm, oh, let me go do that approach, hi, and I have to think of what to say, and it's more just like breathing. You can think about it. You can think about it. In, out, in, out. Okay, and then it's like, okay, I haven't taken a breath in a bit. Let me breathe out. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. I can, carry on for a little bit, but I'm gonna have to breathe soon enough. Okay, in. Like you can think about breathing. You can think about it, but it is something that more often than not happens on its own without your thinking about it. When you sleep, you still breathe. You're not consciously thinking I need to breathe in and breathe out. It just continues to happen on its own. And it begins to be something like that. And this is, I don't want to say this is a more advanced level of game, but it's something I've begun to see because at first I was really I think a lot, and I would always be stuck in this loop of thinking, and I would always be thinking, why am I stuck in this loop of thinking? And it just be like thoughts upon thoughts, just stacking all of the stuff. I I, there was just no room, no space to, well, allow my mind, my body to take over and flow, just free flow. But as time went on, the idea is that the more you know, the not know, I don't want to say no, but the more you understand about yourself, the less you try to force the control over things. Because you have this core understanding of you, at least your mind, this primitive mind, so to speak, has this core understanding of the entire body and how to operate it without having to think about it. You don't have to think about digesting your food. It does it on its own. You don't have to think about breathing while you're asleep. It just continues to do that for you. So, similar to that, now the more you understand yourself, the more that becomes the case when you do the thing that you have been sort of diving into. For some people, it's a sport. You're playing the sport and you enter the flow state, right? Where the things just happen on their own. And it's not you taking any active action in doing them. Although it happening on its own is a result of your continuous active action. The action that you were taking to actively do the thing and make it happen, right? Are only able to enter that flow state when you've reached a particular point of practice. And it's not like you have to reach this point of practice. It's a bad way to phrase it. But it's more like you have to practice to a point where that and you don't even enter the flow state. It just is. When you're doing the thing, it just is. Sometimes you'll be like sort of off. Sometimes you'll have bad days. Sometimes you have great days. But the baseline is just, wow, this guy is good at what he does, right? It's just top level athlete sort of thing. And it's slowly beginning to become that. So as you continue to improve yourself in whatever it may be, so long as you start and you continue to do it over and over and over and over and over again, and you take the frame of the beginner, you don't act as though you know everything there is to be known. You don't act as though you can't learn anything, even from the people you see as more stupid than yourself, or as those that you can't learn from anything. You don't behave in that way. You look at them and you ask yourself, well, where is it in my life that I am the way that this person is? And you use that. Confucius, I think that was Confucius who said, um, when you see someone of good character, you should seek to be like them. And when you see someone of not so good character, you should look within yourself and correct. I don't think he said that. I think he said you should look within yourself and see where see where you are. I don't know what he said. I don't remember what he said. I'll just put it up on the screen. Fuck me sideways.
When we see persons of worth, we should think of equaling them. We see persons of contrary character, we should turn inward and examine ourselves.
Honestly, don't remember, but it's something along the lines of when you see that the fact that okay, this person is not so good, you should, instead of criticizing the person and being like, oh, this person isn't good, look within yourself and not only discover your own failings and your own weak points, but fix those weak points using the person as a sort of reference, using the person as a sort of catalyst to view, say, for example, those particular things. Let's say you have poor eating habits and you see a fat person who's actively, eating shit food. And it's like, okay, I could, one, judge the person and be like, oh, you're a piece of shit because you're fat and you're continuing to eat shit food. Or I could look within myself and say, well, I ate a yeah, I pretty shit food today. I didn't. I've not. I don't have a good diet. So there's nothing to judge the person about because I am also pretty shit in terms of eating. And even if you're good, you're just like, okay, well, I have been eating quite well lately, but I could be doing better. So yeah, I'll use him as a reason to improve myself, not as, I don't know, just something to judge, to throw negative energy towards or whatever. I think even Epictetus said something like that. Look, when you are angry at someone else's actions, look at your own failings and you will forget your anger. Something like that, right? Uh, you just remind yourself about how shitty you are. And then you'll forget, okay, you'll forget your anger. You'll be like, dude, this guy's so annoying. But then again, I am a piece of shit. So, whatever, man. I guess it is what it is. Uh, so, with that being said, I when I looked within, I found only God. I think that finding God with this particular context in mind is that flow state. That sort of, okay, I'm looking within myself and I begin to tap into that sort of flow, that sort of connection with all things without needing to force it, without needing to do it. It's not something that I do, it's something that happens. And though I don't really know how it happens, just does. So, like breathing, something that you forgot about, but you were still doing, even though you weren't thinking about it. It's something that just happens, and it becomes that. So I find that talking to women is something that just happens. Being a social person, being someone who is decent at communication and socializing, it's something that just happens. Yeah, sure, there are times when I look at a person and I think, do I really want to talk to that person? Just like you ask yourself, do I really want to take a deep breath right now? Or do I just want to continue breathing these shallow breaths? Or whatever it could be. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you look at a person and you decide not to engage for whatever reason. It happens, right? And sometimes you do engage, but there's no chemistry. And that's okay. You understand that you will not have a great connection with every single human being. You will not have brilliant and amazing chemistry. You have to be screening for what it is that you want. And you have to be actively screening for that. And it's not just a matter of going up to the person and saying, how old are you? Or let me see your resume so I can see whether you're or not you're a good option for dating. It's more about having a good vibe, having great energy, and using that sort of frame of good vibe and great energy, and then screening from there, seeing whether or not you and the girl connect, whether she has a good sense of humor or not, whether she has good energy, a good vibe, you guys have chemistry. Because sometimes, dude, and this will happen, this happened to me recently. I was talking to a very attractive girl. A lot of guys would fucking choke themselves to death just trying to approach this girl, right? They'd fucking have half a seizure. Um, So talking to this girl, she's quite cute. Sitting next to her, I approached a group of like five, six girls or some shit. Five, it was five, a group of five, and one in particular I found attractive. Sat next to her, talking to them, chilling with them, vibing with them, doing all this dumb weird shit. Cool. Usually when I talk to a girl and I have good chemistry with the person, and I just I feel that raw attraction, I get hard. This particular girl, as attractive as she was, I just didn't get hard. Maybe I'm homosexual, but no, no. But it's just that sometimes you don't have good chemistry with the person. This girl is attractive, but I'm not getting hard. Sometimes the girl's attractive and you get a fucking rock hard boner. Sometimes the girl is average and you get a rock hard boner. And sometimes the girl is average and you don't feel anything. And it's just a matter of the connection between you and the other person. It's not just because she's attractive, I'm gonna get a bone, and we need to have good chemistry because she's attractive. No, it's, do we have good chemistry? Do we connect? Do we feel each other? Is my vibe her vibe, and is her vibe my vibe? And even if my vibe is her vibe, that doesn't mean her vibe is my vibe, right? Just because she likes me doesn't mean I like her. And just because I like her doesn't mean she likes me, right? And you sort of learn to, again, find that spot, that zone of where in which the finer fiber acts on its own accord without your sort of interference with it. And by that I mean, yeah, by that I mean it does its own thing. It's not you who says, this girl is hot, therefore I need to get a boner and we have to smash. It's just a matter of, okay, this girl is hot. Oh, we have a good connection. Oh, she's actually pretty cool. Oh, you know what? I'd like to actually hang out with this person. Oh, we just happen to be in a room with a bed. Oh, we just happen to take our clothes off. Whoops. Something slipped in something else. Shit, babies. I don't I really don't know how to explain this. I've made 32 minutes and 44 seconds of garbage. Um, but yeah, it becomes something that just happens where you just flow. Same as working out. First, it hurts a lot. You can't walk, you can't move your arms, your stomach is crying, your neck is like stiff, your body is going, what the fuck is going on? Why have we been building the pyramids? What the fuck? And um, as you persist, as you continue to do it, the body then says, okay, let's go, let's do this. And it stops feeling like a task. And then there's a point where it begins to be easy. This is a point further down the line, which not a lot of people reach, but it begins to be easy. But just because it's easy doesn't mean it's being done right. You can be strong but have shitty form, have a great physique but have shitty form when doing workouts, right? Um, but that doesn't mean that that's a difficult thing to discuss because there are too many fine lines that you look at someone like Arnold Schwarzenegger, garbage form when he was working out, yet fucking Mr. Olympia 29 times. Not not literally 29 times, but quite a few times. Mr. Yeah, he was that guy. Other people with better form didn't win all the time. Uh, and this is to say that it's not about the form independently. A lot of factors come into play. But when it comes to certain things, like, say, for example, basketball, not again, also, even in basketball, not everybody has the same jump shot. Not everybody has the same sort of style of dribbling. Not everybody has the same vert or whatever, man. Whatever. Not everybody has the same confidence when shooting a 3 pointer or carrying the ball. But regardless of that, we have a ton of professionals who do it, and they do it in their own way, and they show they shine in their own way. So it's not about trying to be like the other people who are good at it or who do it well, but it's more so, again, I look within myself and I find God. It's more with that understanding of yourself, you begin to allow that to carry you. And then with through it carrying you, you find God. I don't know how else to explain it. I don't know how else to make it make sense. Probably doesn't even make sense, but in letting go of the control you wish to have over the thing, you you give yourself all the control. Similar to how you shine the sun and you control the entire universe around you, yet you don't even know it because you've let go of that. The idea, again, being you always get what you want, yet you've let go of what you want more so than you're clinging on to it. That's why when you cling on to these ideas, and girls do this all the time, you always hear girls, I want a man who's not toxic. I want a man who's not going to cheat on me. I want a man who's not narcissistic. I want a man who's nya, 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 nya. And then they get the exact opposite. Why? Because they want the exact opposite. The conscious mind is only holding on to maybe 1 or 2% of what they want, and the other 98, 99% is saying the complete opposite. Their last 5 boyfriends have been narcissistic, cheating assholes, according to them, and the current one is doing the exact same thing. So it's like, let's get serious now. Let's get fucking serious, right? You say you want a good guy, a man who has morals and values and won't cheat on you, yet your current boyfriend. So, yeah, I think I'm done yapping, running my mouth about bullshit that doesn't make any sense. I searched for God and found only myself. I searched for myself and found only God. In your diving into whatever field it may be, whether it's work, whether it's fun, whether it's sport, whether it's just hobbies or it's passions. It's got to be passion. I think it's got to be more passion than anything else. I think it has to be a passion because that's the only way you'll be willing to dive deeper into it, as deep as is necessary to hone into that sort of zone, or to hone the abilities that stem from the understanding of yourself, that flow state, and then to find God, so to speak. And that can be taken literally or figuratively, depends on the person. God would be in the metaphorical sense, that flow state that you enter. Say, for instance, a business person who finally finds his flow state in business and begins to make multiple millions with ease, or the flow state in sport where a player he's just playing the sport. He almost looks like, I don't know. I don't know. It just he's just he's just flowing, making no errors whatsoever. Like you look at you look at the ocean and it waves all the time. There are all these waves, some big, some small, some whatever, but none of them are deformed. There is never an aesthetic mistake in any of the waves you see. Just like if you pick up a seashell and you look at it, you never really say, hey, that seashell has an aesthetic mistake. Everything is perfect or perfectly imperfect. And in that same way, the person who enters that flow state is in a field of that. Not to say that the person is perfect or what they're doing is perfect, but it's got a lot of, I guess you could call it instinct. And instinct doesn't really make mistakes, although it can, but not often. And as a result of that, the person tends to do more right things than wrong things. And you begin to say to yourself, what the hell is going on? right? This person is just just too good. They're just too good. Yeah. Um. Yeah. But I, I'm not saying I'm too good. Although I'm okay. I'm okay. But I can see and feel that that's beginning to happen in a way where I'm now moving. I don't know. I don't know how to say it, but I think I'm beginning to find a flow, like stepping on a skateboard. You begin to feel the board and you don't fall off as often. Now you're able to manual or you're able to ollie. You're able to do a shove it, kickflip, all the simple basic tricks. You're an amateur. You're feeling everything out and it's you can ride down a steep hill or down the road and you won't fall off. Moving, dodging all the potholes, all the little rocks that may trip you without actually thinking about it. You just move. You just move. You just flow. Yeah.